Hi everyone, welcome to Hansraj e-Samvaad channel. On this channel I have been creating several lectures on the course content which the students will find extremely useful for the preparation of their incoming exams. I am Piyush Chaudhary, currently Assistant Professor at the Department of English at Hansraj College, University of Delhi. I welcome you once again and I thank you for being with me in this journey. Continuing my discussion on the various themes and the various narrative styles and techniques of wise and otherwise, today I'll go on to yet another important theme which is extremely important from the examination point of view. In the previous lecture, I discussed the narrative style, the narrative techniques, the tone, and the writing style of Sudha Murty, and I also discussed the theme of kindness and empathy that Sudha wants us to learn from. But today's lecture will be different because today I'll discuss yet another important theme in this collection, Wise and Otherwise, and that is human errors, human foibles, human follies, and human mistakes. As we all know, Wise and Otherwise is not a didactic piece of literature, and the author is not moralizing us or rather giving sermons to us. This is something which I discussed in the previous lecture. You can, look back. I'll add the link for the playlist. But rather, despite not being a didactic piece of literature, it shows the various colors, the various aspects, the various attributes of human life. And these various attributes of human lives obviously contains both the good and the evil. It contains the finer things in life as well as the darker things in life. It contains the good, it contains the evil as well. So today I'll be discussing on the human mistakes and how Sudha wants us to learn from these mistakes through her long experience in public service and public dealing. Wise and Otherwise shows the good things in human life as well as the really bad things that are there. It shows all the colors and all the hues and all the aspects of life. Just like any one of us, Murthy also goes through certain life experiences, isn't it? Some of which must be very good, some of which must have really disturbed her, which have really troubled her. So therefore human errors, human foibles and human follies play a major role in the book. At the same time, it is very interesting to note that the various human follies and the human mistakes, as shown by the author Murthy, makes the readers realize that any one of us is susceptible to make mistakes and errors. Throughout the various chapters, she encounters several people, some of which are greedy, some of which are arrogant, some of which are evil, some of which are bad, and then at the same time, some of which are really kind-hearted, really good, and really morally upright. Now, Murthy's long association with public life and her association with slums, poor people, marginalized community is exactly what drives her to write this collection of short stories from her everyday life. She travels from one place to another, she performs acts of charity, philanthropy, and it is through these acts that she is able to understand the human nature which can range from good to evil. So her long public life brings her new experiences which she learns, and she learns fascinating insights about the human behavior. And through her we can learn all of that. So one of the most striking stories, for example, I'll just take one specific story, chapter number 10, which is titled A Man Too Clever by Half, where Sudha meets a highly conceited and a highly pompous man who keeps on lying, who thinks that he's too clever, and he thinks that he's very smart, and his overconfidence leads to his downfall. His false sense of over smartness, and in that he goes on speaking nonsense and does not realize that Sudha Murty is clearly able to see through his lies and the false statements that he is making. So she's very easily able to catch the person, and who's just trying to sell his book somehow to Sudha Murty. So Murty puts him in his place by telling him that he's a liar and a good writer can never be a liar, right? But despite that, Murty does not hate him for this. She is upset, of course, she is a bit troubled, but she does not allow the emotion of hate to overpower someone who was trying to fool her. So, as I said, she doesn't allow all of this hate to come forward. Similarly, in several of the other stories, she comes across certain people who are greedy and who lie in the face of Sudha Murty to derive some benefit out of her, but still, she is not vengeful and she does not hate these people altogether. At several times, Murty is trying to tell us that all humans make errors, and therefore she does not pass judgments. She does not teach us to hate others. She rather tells us that such people should be kept away from oneself as much as possible. Now, this also reminds me of, I believe it's chapter number 51, if I'm not wrong, Three Bright Young Men, titled Three Bright Young Men, yes, where, when she meets three young students and they are very poor, so she is able to, she sponsors their education, and then later on she meets them, and but the story shows how there are certain people in this world who will never return your favor and who will not even acknowledge your favor. And in this last story, in chapter number 51, she helped three students in achieving quality education because they were extremely poor, and after they grew up, one of the young men acknowledged Sudha and returns the money out of deep reverence and out of deep respect for her, while there is another person who is a doctor who does not even acknowledge the fact that it was Sudha who helped him complete his education, despite knowing that Sudha, helped him complete his education by sponsoring it. So you see, there are people of all kinds. There are all shades of people. But despite all of this, Sudha does not stop short of doing acts of philanthropy, as she believes that she did not commit, philanthropy to get some benefit or to get some return out of it or to get some acknowledgement, right? So in all those chapters that I have discussed, if you look at, because I'll be sharing the playlist with all of you, in all those chapters, I have taken into analysis the summary, and you will realize that Sudha is never interested in getting any credit for what she has been doing, because she does philanthropy not to get any credit but rather to feel happy, because it is her purpose, it serves her sense of purpose. So the stories, as I mentioned, they deal with human follies, human errors like greed, an excessive sense of entitlement, arrogance, you can say cunning, deceit, avariciousness, and so on and so forth. So therefore, the kind of human errors and human foibles and human follies that are shown in the collection, Wise and Otherwise, does not teach us to hate other humans. Rather, it teaches us that there are certain people in the world who are inherently bad, who are inherently evil, and that we should avoid them, and that we should always try, to never become one of them. By showing such human follies, Murty is trying to show that life has good as well as bad, and she is basically juxtaposing the different attributes of life as a whole and presenting it in front of you as readers. So she is magnifying these different human follies and errors to show how different attributes in a human being can be. And at the same time, through her stories, she also shows the importance of gratitude, love, compassion, human acts of strength, and strength of character. And she wants her reader to take home these ideas. So with this, I sum up yet another theme and I bring to a close yet another lecture. I'll be taking one final session in the conclusion of the lecture series. Perhaps that will be the end of this entire long lecture series. One more lecture is on the way, and I'll be uploading that as well. I'll be concluding my, that lecture will be having my concluding statements. So please stay tuned for that lecture, for the last and final lecture in this series after this one. And thank you for your time and for all your support. Keep sharing the video with other students, and please comment your doubts, your confusions, your questions. Your comments are highly, I would really appreciate if you comment your views as well. Commenting your views in the comment section will enhance, our discussions. It'll bring a much more, academic and a much more intellectual idea together. It will be more intellectually engaging, I would say, right? So you can ask your confusions, your questions. Please comment your views on these videos. And one last lecture is in line. Thank you again. Goodbye, and I'll see you very soon. Prepare well for your exams. Thank you. Goodbye, and Jai Hind.